Episode of Betty Adams Discusses. I am here with...
It's me, Grim.
All right, and we're here to discuss Kaiju number 8, but you know how these conversations go. So, chapter 49. Nothing huge that we weren't expecting, but that's kind of Matsumoto's signature by this point. Nothing is ever entirely unexpected, because it is a shonen manga after all, but there were a few twists. So just before we get really talking, tell me, what stood out to you about this chapter?
For me, the biggest thing is probably the most obvious. It's just the pure sort of strength growth of Kaiju number 9. Like, I think the panel where he just absolutely claps down Isao, like he overpowers him with that punch. That whole, because that's almost a full page spread on itself. That panel, I was like, whoa! That really got me good. And at that point, I was like, man, I need to say sorry to this dude because I've been bad mouthing him for weeks.
Yeah, and that's really, really reflected in Matsumoto's art. I mean, the storytelling is there, but you can also just, by looking at this body, all of the other bodies were kind of cadaverous. And even where they had muscles and weren't scrawny, it was still the pale whiteness that did not look like particularly sturdy flesh. It was like something rotting and soft, spongy almost. But this body, it's darker, it's firmer. You can definitely just tell by looking that Kaiju number 9 is really powered up in this body.
The dude's hench.
The dude's what now?
He's hench. He's massive.
Hench, H-E-N-C-H?
Yeah.
What's that? Is that a Britishism or something? I'm not familiar.
I guess so. Yeah, it's just a slang term for being like built, huge.
So
big.
Maybe built like a henchman.
I have no idea where it derives from, but yeah, maybe.
Okay, I learned a new word today.
There you go.
Yeah. And okay, this is gonna sound kind of frivolous, but what kind of what sticks out to me most about this chapter, after it's had a few days to percolate, is just how handsome Director General Shinomiya was in that last panel.
Oh, dude.
And from a storytelling perspective, I've done entire videos on this, but Matsumoto really plays with human psychology and how we respond to attractive or unattractive people. And I noticed that what really struck me at first was that we were always seeing in the flashback scenes when we were first being introduced to the Director General, we were seeing him from really weird angles. And angles that the story didn't necessarily seem to call for. And I figured out at last that Matsumoto was kind of trying to hide the fact that he is a very handsome dude in his own right, until Matsumoto was ready for us to start emotionally bonding to him. Because unfortunately, that is how people work. We just inherently trust handsome people more. And as unfair as that might be, it's just, it's not just humans either. It's genetically in any animal that has a social structure, and indicators of health cause a greater tendency to cooperative behavior. And in this I've noticed that whenever we see the Director General, when the story is dealing with him as the officer, as the commander, as the cog in the machine, he is generally presented in a less attractive manner than when the story is dealing with him as a husband and a father. And we get that moment of flashback where he's gathering himself up to basically to protect Kokoru at this point. He's remembering his wife. Then suddenly we just get, the mussy hair, the accentuation of all of his best features. And Matsumoto is making a point of, this is a husband, this is a father, and just look at how beautiful he is.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And like, I think at this point as well, it's obvious that we both clearly love this man. But yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from as well. I think the first time I kind of noticed that through how Matsumoto does that was with when he introduced Gen Narumi. Because immediately with Narumi, like the first sort of panel, it was definitely supposed to show sort of kind of how attractive he is as a character. Like his introduction shot was just like, wow, look at this dude. This is the first time you've seen him, but you're never going to forget him. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I totally see where you're coming from with
At
that.
first, I was like, that was almost he was unnecessarily attractive.
Right?
It was
'Cause it's
startling, and I
yeah.
think that might be Matsumoto was about to hit us with just how immature and ridiculous Gen could be in his private life. So
Yeah.
Matsumoto wanted to make sure we were good and attached to him from the beginning,
Right.
so that he didn't lose us with showing just how petty Gen could be in his private life.
Absolutely. I think it was a case of being like, here's this guy, like this is how good he looks. I want to make sure that's ingrained into your mind so that you don't forget how important this character is going to become very soon. And then like the next time you see him, you're hit with his immaturity and it kind of throws you for a curveball.
Thanks for coming on. I have so much fun.
Oh yeah, me too. I do every time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Plug your plugs.
Oh, okay, well, thank you if you've still been listening this far. I'm Grimsabr, but you can call me Grim. I have my own YouTube channel where I talk about anime and manga all the time. Lots to do with Kaiju number 8. So if you are a fan of this series, feel free to hop on over and check out my videos. I do a lot of chapter reviews. So yeah, other than that, thanks for joining us.
All right. Peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans are weird. We took a vote, and humans are weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans are weird, we took a vote, and humans are weird, I have the data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.